Right now? All right. Hello there. Welcome to Blitz Transmissions. This is not the Blitzcast. It's going to be an interview that you guys are going to see later on the Blitz Transmissions YouTube channel, or it's going to be something that you're seeing live here at ICCC and Murfreesboro, Tennessee. If you're not here and you still have time, you should definitely show up here on the Saturday or show up on the Sunday as well, because guess what? This is the coolest Star Wars toy convention, pop culture convention you could possibly go to. They do say it's the future of conventions after all. Of course, it's not technically a Blitzcast, but you know me, I'm going to start off with a little bit of a little Bible reading before we get into the content of this interview with the great Sean Crawford from Return of the Jedi. So, of course, this one comes from second book of Corinthians, chapter 4, verse 15. All this is for your benefit, so that the grace that is reaching more and more people may cause thanksgiving to overflow to the glory of God. So with that, let's, talk some Star Wars here. I guess I'll talk about maybe my first day, because right now Mr. Sean Crawford is over in the very next room doing a panel. He'll be coming over. We'll be talking to him for a bit. Sean Crawford, who played Yak Face in Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, all the way back in 1983. So in the meantime, I guess I'll kind of talk about how my day one went for ICCC. I'll tell you guys, it was a busy day. We were just go all day long. I'm still recovering a little bit. I definitely need some more coffee than I've had from the first day. But the first day was good. We got to hang out at 212 booth. Make sure to go check out the best vendor booth at ICCCon this year, 212 booth. He's selling his entire Star Wars collection, which includes almost a complete collection of every single Commander Cody action figure, statue, piece of memorabilia that's ever been made. So go check out his vendor booth. It's Kitty Corner 2, Daryl DePriest's booth, which if you're a Clone Wars fan, you should definitely check out as well. So, taking a look at what we did yesterday, we hung out with 212 Hunter, watched him make a ton of money. I got jealous, so I had to walk away that he was making a lot of money. And then we enjoyed the day. We got to have the Blitzcast live yesterday. If you could check that out on the ICCC channel, that'll be cool. And then we'll also be able to check it out later this week when I get back home on the Blitz Transmissions YouTube channel. In addition to that, we also hung out. We went and got some Five Guys yesterday. This area is super nice, honestly. The accessibility of the area around this ICCC venue, out of the, I think, 2 or 3 different venues that I've been to, is probably my favorite, just because there's every store that you would need, every restaurant you could think of is pretty much within 15 minutes of the venue, and you don't even have to hop on the highway to get to 90% of it. So we hung out, we did room sales, we did the lobby sale last night. I may have bought way too many Clone Troopers yesterday, and I'm going to probably buy even more today. So I'm super excited for day 2. We're going to have a good time. We got some celebrity signings I'm going to do. I'm going to meet the man who was in the suit for Marok and get his retro collection figure signed. I bought his retro collection figure a couple months ago on Big Bad Toy Store. I'm going to get that signed, and then we're going to do a little more room sailing tonight. We did get almost sold out on room sales. Shout out to my buddy Skywalker Hendricks. We were bringing in all his stuff for the room sales, and we had him on the clothing carts. We didn't even get in the building yet, and we got swarmed by like 8 collectors, and Hendricks made $500 before we even walked in the door. So that was awesome. And then he sold the majority of the loose figures that he brought within the first hour of the room sales yesterday. So that was awesome. And I'm really excited. I actually sold a bunch of my stuff too. Got rid of almost all of I brought some Kenner figures, some doubles from my collection. I sold them for dirt cheap. So the room sales are where it's at. That's where you can get the grails. It's where you can find the odds and ends from people's collections, things you're looking for. That's the place to go. It's a place to find them. So we're going to be having our guest, I believe, in the next couple minutes here. So I'm going to make sure I'm just kind of maybe doing some busy work talking over here, just some little filler here. Like I said yesterday, let's put on an episode of The Bad Batch if we want to watch some filler here. But as far as ICC goes, it's been, this year I feel like has definitely been, I feel like there's a lot more energy this year. Last year, I know that they only had 6 months to plan last year's show, but this year, man, there were so many room sales. It's probably the most room sales I've seen out of my 3 years going to the convention. There were just tons and tons of stuff. Lots of retro, lots of Kenner, lots of Black Series. If you're a Black Series fan, that Black Series stuff, especially at the room sales, is moving. There are people buying hundreds and hundreds of figures all at once from Black Series, for, whether they own a toy store or whether they sell on Whatnot, things like that. Those have been big. And they've also lots of hot toys too. I've been seeing too. Lots of the limited hot toys from Celebration last year in Japan, which those can be really hard to come by. I've been seeing lots of older Sideshow figures. Pretty much any scale, any line that you collect, new or old. The room sales are one of the things that are uniquely ICC Con. And I don't think any other convention, even if they tried to replicate it, could really do room sales the way that ICC Con does them. So I've been really enjoying this year's show. It's also been nice. I think we've been taking more of a focus, my friends and I, this year on really poking through the vendor booths and looking at what everybody has and looking at what they have to offer. That's been a lot of fun. That's been a good time. As opposed to, I feel like in prior years, I kind of felt like a headless chicken. So you're trying to, plan a vacation weekend around ICC Con, which you can do, but if you want to really experience everything that ICC Con has to offer, I would highly recommend checking out the staying at the convention all 3 days, because that's really where you get to experience the most. There's just so much to do, whether it's the vendor floor or the podcast stage or the panels that they offer, or I even got a tattoo last year. I might get another tattoo tomorrow on the last day of the convention again, but we'll see what ends up happening. So as far as the con though this year, I really like the venue. I like our Utapau hotel, 10th level, thousands of battle droids. 10 levels of the hotel, looks like Utapau from Revenge of the Sith. That's always fun, and it's really, really nice too, because when you're looking at the room sales, what they've always done is they have the numbers of the room numbers in the elevator, so you can see who's selling. But the nice thing about this venue is the open concept of it. You can, on any floor that you're at, you can see all the rooms that have the open doors with the little cutouts. A lot of people use like a Star Wars character cutout to kind of advertise that they're doing a room sale. It's a cool little call sign that is another thing that has become almost like an unwritten rule of ICC Con. ICC Con has kind of developed its own culture over the now 8 years that the convention has been going on. So it's been a lot of fun to be a part of it and experience it. And as you're coming to the con multiple years, you kind of catch on to the different unwritten rules and the different cultural aspects of ICC Con. And it's just such a positive environment. It's such a fun environment to be in, and I can't say enough good things about the convention. I really wish that my dad decided to show up for the convention this year. I figure he's watching this live, so you're not first this time. You're first to not be here this time. But yeah, we've been it's been a good time. Good food around the area, good things to do, having a good time with people all the time, and meeting new faces as well. I feel like when I'm at ICC Con, people make fun of me because it's how I am when I go to the show. You get lost in conversation with people. I'll talk to somebody for the first time ever at this convention, and we'll just talk and talk and talk for 30, 45 minutes, even an hour, and then people will start, tugging me along, like, come on, man, we gotta go, we gotta move along here, and it's just that shared experience. It's not something that you get out in public. How many people are you gonna meet up with that you're like, oh, you collect Star Wars action figures? It's not very common. However, here, it's that assumed commonality that everybody has. You're a Star Wars fan. You like collecting action figures. You're here to meet the guests. You get to experience that and have that immediate kind of shared enjoyment, and that builds a relationship almost immediately with people here. And that's the reason that I tolerate Mr. John Graber, who's running the podcast stage off to the side here, because he's a person that I met at this convention. And actually, that's probably one of my favorite stories that I tell about the show, is last year at ICC Con when I met John, I was just standing at the side of the showroom, and all of a sudden, here comes this guy with no shoes on. He's got this big fishbowl glass of wine, and he walks up to me, and he says, You're Tommy, you're Blitz Transmissions, you're on Sarlacc Digest. And I go, yeah? And he looks at me, and he just goes, I spit on Black Series. Turns around, disappears into the crowd. I was so dumbfounded in the moment. I see him again an hour later. No glass of wine this time, but he comes up to me again, no shoes. I spit on Black Series still. Turns around, disappears. Who is this guy? Who is this mysterious dude that's like this force ghost that keeps appearing to me instead of telling me to go to Dagobah and be trained by Yoda is telling me to spit on the Black Series, but and here we are. Yeah, and it worked. And then Hasbro made a Republic gunship HasLab last year, and here we are. So it's stories like that are so memorable at ICCCon. And it's kind of stuff that you only get at this convention. You don't get this kind of stuff with other shows. But there's people doing hand signals at me over here. He's coming? Okay, he's coming. So our guest is almost here. So I hope I haven't bored you to death with my incessant talking. But yeah, we're going to have Sean Crawford on. Again, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of context to who we're interviewing today. He is the man who was in the suit for Yak Face, one of the most iconic Jabba denizens from the 1983 film Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. So that first third of that movie is a lot of people's favorite portion of that movie. And I'm excited to ask him some questions about the aspects of how do you even bother creating in your head like a story for this character, or is this something that you just are standing in the background? I'm sure with George Lucas on set, there was some, quicker, more intense being said and making yourself look interesting or something like that. So I'll be excited to hear from someone who was there, someone who was on screen, what that experience was like. And also maybe hearing how they come up with these interesting designs. If you look at Star Wars aliens, especially from the original trilogy, many of them are just an animal that's kind of mutated a little bit and then put on a human body with some weird looking hands. I mean, look at Squid Face, you have Yak Face, you have several other aliens from the original trilogy. Hammerhead, another big one, that are just animals that we're familiar with, and they, kind of mutate them a little bit, put them on somebody's, like a human body, give them some weird hands or like a tail or something like that. Now I have to give a special shout out to Skywalker Hendricks again, walking in. Hey, there he is, walking in. One of my good friends. Gonna be my wedding in a couple weeks here. Very excited. I met another guy that I met through this hobby here. Super good friend of mine. What are we sipping on over there, Hendricks? Iced chai? I definitely need to get some more coffee once we're done here. But I also see him in the back over here, the Hyperspace Heroes podcast, Brown Squadron. That's where it's at. Brown Squadron will have a panel tomorrow again, I hear. I know they had a panel yesterday, if I'm correct, right? Yep, you did yesterday, and then tomorrow, now they're going to have another one. So here we are, stepping up, Sometimes we have to fill the shoes multiple for these panels here. So, yeah. But, it's been a lot of fun to be here at ICCCon. We're just kind of filling some time here while we hang out and wait for our guests to show up. We're going to do a nice little interview here. The show is definitely busy today. I will say that, too. The show has definitely been busy today as well. It's been a lot busier than I remember, especially last year being. Last year, I think there was a good turnout. But this year, I feel like it's very, very full. The showroom is very crowded in a good way. And I can feel the buzz. Everybody's looking for something different. And that's another thing that I think is special about ICCCon is while it started with the Kenner toys being a big focus, that has shifted. And now you have all kinds of collectors wanting to come to this convention and seeking it out to be here. And would this be our guest coming in right now? Wonderful. Mr. Sean Crawford coming in, everybody. Welcome in, welcome in. How are we doing? Good, awesome. No problem at all. Hi. I'm Tom. Nice to meet you.
Tom. I'll take a back on the right.
Have a seat in either one of these chairs, whichever one you like most here.
Yeah, this one looks good.
All right, awesome. So how's been ICCCon been treating you so far, sir?
At the ICC, I think this is the third time. It's the third time.
Third time you've been here?
I've been invited.
So
yeah,
I have a few questions for you. So obviously I'm of the prequel Clone Wars generation of Star Wars fans. So I grew up with the latter movies that came out in the 2000s, but of course, you also, if you're a Star Wars fan and you're like me, my dad raised me into Star Wars. I had no choice in the matter. So I was shown the original trilogy time and time again. Some of my earliest memories of life were watching the original 3 movies. So I've got some questions for you about playing a character that has, I guess, really become one of the most iconic aliens from the original 3 movies, or as the Star Wars fandom has term them glup shittos. Have you ever heard that term before?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, so any background alien,
What is it?
a glup shitto.
A glup shitto.
Yes.
I'm a glup shitto?
Yak face is a
Wow,
glup shitto. Yeah,
glup
so that's
shitto. Get
that's
on
the
that.
term that the Star Wars fandom has adopted for background aliens. Characters that have little screen time. But did you ever anticipate that your character would become
Glup
one of the
shitto.
most recognizable and iconic glup shittos from that movie?
Oh, no, get over that. Well, no, it's... I had no idea about the old Yak, the figure. I mean, it was... Because we filmed it, 1982, and then it came out in 1983.
Right.
And then the figure came out in 1985. Now, I was like 23 at the time, so 4 years is a long time of your life,
Absolutely.
It's just like you're gone, you're on the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And so I had no idea the figure had come out. And also I was 23, I was collecting girlfriends, not toys. And I didn't know about it for years until I was invited to one of the conventions. I didn't know what a convention was, and I was entered suddenly this whole new world.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. I saw my first sort of stormtrooper, and like a cosplay stormtrooper.
Absolutely.
I was like, this is it was another world. It was brilliant. And I was asked, of course, the fans knew about the Yak face figure. I had no idea, and they said, "Oh, do you know about the Yak face, figure?" And I said, "No." I didn't know it was one. I thought, "Oh, this is so cool. I need to get one." Where is it? Oh, it's hard to find. And so I heard the story, and I was on the hunt for one, and eventually I got one. And,
Tracked one down.
How cool was that? I got this thing, and I was showing, because everyone had to ask me all the time, it was, "Have you got one? Have you got one?"
Yeah.
And when I got one, I pulled it out, I showed them, and said, "No, that's a Power Force 2. But I was so pleased because that was the
first time you got one.
First figure.
Yeah.
That was my character. So anyway, so I was happy with that for a long time. But this was before eBay,
Yeah.
and so I was sort of on the hunt for the elusive Yak face.
Absolutely.
And
It's a coveted figure.
yeah, especially in America. But this
Yes,
was
it
in
is.
England. I was looking anywhere.
Right.
And eventually I found a vendor that had one. I wish I knew his name, or because
Yeah.
I'm now very close to collectors and vendors, and I
Absolutely.
would have loved to have meet up with a guy that told me my first Yak.
That's awesome.
And then when I got him, I was so pleased. I made this little club because I went through the whole process collectors go through, the hunt,
Yes.
the
Absolutely.
exchange or whatever, and so I made this little club, the elusive owners, elusive Yak face owners club, and so I wore this badge. I made this badge so people would know I've got one, because I was always asked, "Have you got one?"
Save them the trouble. They don't even have to ask.
No,
now.
exactly.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
So I have some questions for you about being on set. Because a lot of people, what they'll do is either the director will tell them like a backstory for their character, or people will kind of create their own story for their character. In your younger years, when you were in the costume, did you create any sort of like a backstory for the Yak face character?
Yak face is one big. It's a big head, basically, and you're strapped in, and it basically, you just got to wear this thing. There's no subtleties with him.
No.
It's like having a big chest of concrete above you, and it's a heavy thing. So really, I was a mime artist, very trained. I had technique, I had body discipline, toned. I was, head, neck, chest, waist. I knew how to control my body. I was a performer, a mime performer. But so I put this thing on, and his face was basically an angry camel.
Yeah, pretty much.
It was. I have no idea. I still want to know why he was called a Yak. But anyway, I've spoken to sculptor, the Judy, and you know, I want to. Anyway, that's something I'm on the hunt for.
Yeah.
And so no, I didn't know who he was. There was no backstory with it apart from, you know, these are sort of like jabbers, a gang of misfits. And, you know, so you knew you were sort of like a baddie. You were,
bad guy.
Bad guy. And but yeah, my capabilities of subtleties were not there.
Absolutely.
It was very much a shoulder movement basically, and I had my arms were right, but then I had these hoops, 3-fingered hoops.
I guess you'd call them, yeah.
And they were again. Everything was foam, and then latex, and I had fiberglass strengtheners I was harnessed in, and the hoops I remember. There was sort of in the gloves. You're sort of holding on to something so they wouldn't fly off.
Yeah.
And I sweated, and
I can imagine.
It was pretty minging. It was yeah. So it was all a hot, sweaty mess in there, really.
Because you guys were on location for that, right?
No, we did go to location. Oh man, in the desert.
Could you imagine if you're on location in the barge?
No. Bye-bye. I mean, it was it was hot to trot in there. But,
yeah. So, have you since created? If you were to create a story for Yak Face, like what would he do? Would he be like some sort of professional? Was he like the janitor of the palace?
He would be a disco dancer. He was a. What would be now? He was a bad boy.
Yeah.
He was, he was one with. He would wear shades. He was a cool dude, a bit of a biker, a bit of a. He was a rebel, sort of. But one of those. He's oldish. You know, he wasn't a young. He was. Yeah, he's
already seen his action.
He was a plodder. You know, he's done it.
How long did the costume take to put on? Because I'm assuming they had to help you put it on.
Yeah, 20 minutes. It was
That's
like
not bad.
it was. I mean, compared to Bit of Tuna, Michael, 3 hours, and so you'd arrive there, and he went through a lot. And look, you know, mine was hard to wear.
Yeah.
But you know, easy to put on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's strapped in, but in the breaks, I kept strapped in because it was still a palaver taking off.
Right.
So you know, when everyone else was sort of like relaxing, I'd just slump.
Yeah.
And then you get a helper would put hair dryer and give you hair and stuff like that.
Because that was before the days of fans. I mean, because I do the 501st Legion, and so I have a full suit of armor that I wear on top of these, and you'll wear like a body glove and then the armor on top.
Yeah.
And that can be super, super difficult. You know, in that suit for 4 hours at a time, sweating. But now we have those little electric fans you can put in the helmets and like cooling systems. I can only imagine. Obviously, none of that existed.
No,
at the time.
It was just. It was. Yeah, the prosthetics now are so thin and light and flexible, and they've gone to another dimension like everything else. But it was basically, it said you had a foam, a fiberglass structure.
Yeah.
Then you had the foam, thick foam, and then you had the latex finish, and then it was painted. But basically, in the neck of Yak's head's up there. In the neck there was a little cutting with a bit of gauze on it, so you couldn't see it. And it's about cent. Do you have cent still? Cent coins. Cent coins?
I don't know. I don't think so. They don't sound familiar to me.
A cent, you know, dollar, a cent.
Oh yeah, we do. Yeah, you do.
I haven't seen one.
Yeah, I don't believe in them anymore.
No, I don't.
They do. They were a relic of the past at one point. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of something that,
like a penny.
Oh, you use pennies. Yeah, a penny size. So so there's a little penny sized hole through this foam and stuff, and that was my airing.
Yeah.
And my visual out, so I couldn't really see anything. I couldn't hear anything, so I was, deaf and blind.
How long did they have you cooped up in that thing consecutively?
It's hard to say. I mean, there were lots. I mean, Richard Marquet worked quickly.
Yeah.
It was very efficient. So we were sort of last minute get dressed.
Yeah.
There's last minute get dressed, get ready, waiting and waiting and waiting. And in she comes, Kerry comes in like a man, swans in, and then you wait a bit more, yeah, it's a lot of waiting process.
Yeah.
And, but everyone was so efficient, the lights were done. Yeah, it's hard to remember time.
Right.
Because there's no clocks on the wall. You didn't wear watches.
And everything's dark, and you have this little peephole.
Yeah, the little
through,
peephole, you just relax, and then, you're standing, but you're trying to remember where everything was.
Right.
Because I was in Jabba's Palace, and I was also on the sail barge.
Yep.
And so there was steps in Jabba's Palace, and also there's an alcove. So, it was sort of just remembering things. I was also in Mon Calamari. I was like, when I got that, it was so lovely. It was light.
I was going to say, it's probably a lot more enjoyable than...
Summer suits. It was, here we go. It's so lovely, different.
So, which alien do you like more then? Did you like the yak face more, or did you like, other than the comfortability obviously being better with the calamari?
Well, I love yak face now. He's
iconic.
He's
now.
iconic,
Yes.
and I've learned so much about him.
Yeah.
I literally did the character.
Yeah.
Went off, but 40 years later, you find out so much about him.
Yeah.
So I love him, and I've built him in more because I've tried to build a group of people that have loved him or grew up with him as a toy, which I didn't, and so they tell me about the stories and the elusive yak face. It's on Facebook. You come and join it, and
that's awesome.
Tell us your stories, basically.
And that's what's so special about the Star Wars fandom. I feel like there's no other fictional universe could you get such a group of people that are so obsessed with such a specific character.
They've got so much knowledge.
Yes.
And they're when they've got a focus on a character, they know everything, and they want to know everything. And somebody knows a little bit more. And did you see this? And it's yesterday I found out this guy had picked up one of a collector had picked up one of Coca-Cola's a promotional yak, a 6-foot fiberglass one.
Holy cow!
I had never heard of it.
Yeah.
But he's just joined my group, and he'll post pictures and tell us his story. Cool. But he's got a story. The way he got in his car and drove it. It's all these sort of things that just keep on going.
And that's another thing that I was talking about. I did a panel yesterday where we talked about. That's another thing with Star Wars. It's not just the movie or the character or the universe. It's the stories in our lives that go along with it. I feel like that's part of what's made the Yak Face character specifically so special is that action figure and the stories people have of going to find it. And it, like you said, creates a community around it because we get to share, sharing the stories and having the excitement. The not knowing
it was there, man, I had that. But in America, of course, it's legendary, but, it was on a little poster, I think, and, no one knew about it, and it's a lovely story, really.
Now, did you consider yourself a Star Wars fan going into Return of the Jedi? So you signed up because you wanted to be in Star Wars.
I didn't know it was Star Wars.
They didn't tell you ahead of time?
No, we went to this casting. It was Robert Watts was there. I was a mime artist.
Right.
And they put a call out for a casting from UK, so people came from all over to this casting. I just went to it with a colleague, Tim Dry, who I'd worked with, another mime artist, and Desmond Jones was a mime tutor at the time, and he did a mime class where you had to do movements, creature movements or whatever, and then I think there might have been a bunch of 30 people at it, and then I think 9 were picked.
Wow.
Robert Watts had seen us. We were all performers.
Right,
It wasn't like we were
walking down the street one day and all of a sudden
that's what we made our living from. I was performing nightclubs, I was doing shows and stuff like that.
How much training does that take with the miming? I would imagine it takes a lot of training to get the discipline in the body movements and.
It's what you do, so you're not really training. It's like
second nature.
You know, if you're a runner, you go out for a run in the morning and come back and do a bit more running. And but I was performing, so every night you're performing. So it's like I was doing quite a burlesque show. I was doing when I say mime, it was musical mime. I had a very electronic music was at the time. This is 80s, so I was. I was what we call a new romantic, or you could say new wave sort of guy.
Yeah.
You know, there's Adamant and Duran Duran and all that sort of scene at the time. And I was like a little space cadet. I had shaven hair and spikes, and I was out there. And
sounds like the 80s.
Yeah, we were very much. Yeah, come and have a look at some. I've got some pictures of me
absolutely.
there. And it was. I can't remember what the question was.
I was asking about like the training, like what.
Oh, the training.
And then you kind of explained it's like second
every
nature.
night, so it was. And we were working on sketch. We had 3 girls and guys dancing and mime artists, and it was theatre burlesque. I would say, you know, you didn't quite know what it was. It was very live.
Right.
But I sort of created this. I was into abstract rhyme and mime movement. That was my sort of thing. You know, I wasn't into illusion work or. You know, now I'm going on a ladder or going backwards and it's windy, you know, and I mean, there's so many different types of mime. You know, there's like Lindsay Kemp, who taught David Bowie, who was good in mime. Lindsay was more in the mind. I am a tree in the wind. I am wind, you know, very, very in the mind.
Yeah.
I was more technical mime. I isolated the body and, you know, head, neck, chest, waist. And I like to see movement and try and portray it. So classic was the robotic movement. I had all, in those days the Transformers, you know, the wind-up. These are like Japanese robots. And I'd watch it and study the movement and then see how it worked. And then I'd use that on my body, you know, so that's how I'd work out like a robotic thing and or puppet and just unusual movement. So, you know, when someone's got a little spasm or, you know, a twitch, and I would sort of, to music, odd movement looks weird, but that's what you look at.
Yes.
You know, so I could, at a show, I could be like a robot stuck on a corner of a pillar. Yeah. But still stuck because I'm a robot. You know, you know, I wasn't like be a character of a robot. I would just be like that toy would be. Yes. Which is someone seeing other things going on the stage, but you know, to see that happening was a little bit just what's going on. You know, I know your eye is drawn to the unusual. Yes. Well, I did in those days. So every night was a live night because it was live stage. It wasn't, you know, but I did a lot of television work and we got quite popular because the robot. That took off. The robotic dance became a big thing in the 80s. And then things like Shalimar took the robotic thing and then made it into breakdancing. And then breakdancing, you got Michael Jackson taking that and making poof, you know. That all came much later. I mean, we were in early processes of that whole thing.
Almost like an exploratory field to be at the time.
And in those days, your buskers, because we did it on the street. We did it everywhere. And we went, when we progressed, we went into television. You know, people, because it's an old thing. You know, great little thing. And we did like the Royal Variety to. That's cool. And that's cool. But I was not the gold robot in Star Wars. What a shame.
There was. It's funny you bring that up with breakdancing and stuff, because when I was younger, I did all kinds of theater and breakdancing, you know, singing, acting, all that stuff. And it's cool to hear, you know, when you bring up something to me, there's something so different from breakdancing, like miming, and how it develops into these other things.
Oh, it's fantastic. But that's what it is. It's progression. I mean, now there's like liquid movement, dancing, and, you know, blocking, and it's moved. The technical side of it is so skillful, but it's moved on. I mean, mine was so clunky, but there wasn't anything else.
It was a form of entertainment.
It was the beginning of it. It was the spark of it. You know, that was it. I mean, there was the robot, but it was like that sort of robot. Mine was a sort of a different sort of form,
Yes.
which has evolved. But yeah, it was very popular because I looked weird at the same time. It was all made sense.
And it makes more sense to me to have somebody with that kind of expertise play and portray a character where you don't see their face and they're wearing prosthetics and wearing things like that. Because I'll be honest, I watch a lot of new movies and TV shows, and I can tell instantaneously when the person in the suit is just a guy they picked up off the street versus somebody who has that training and that second nature, you know?
Yeah, I didn't have the ability to really portray. I was just holding it
Absolutely.
steady. But it was funny because underneath that suit, I was that 80s wacky kid, and I looked really strange. And Mark Hamill would say, you know, in his best friend, "Wow, what are you not being seen?" I had shaven head with spikes, and it was quite, because I was a burlesque sort of guy, and it was. But the just sitting there with all the creatures, I was in my element.
Yeah.
You know, 23 in this smoke-filled room, lights and all these it was just like just sitting there, and this is. Wow.
You're really in it.
Oh,
yeah.
Really in it. It wasn't like on a stage. It was right the way around. And, you know, these things were moving because the cables it was, wow.
Now, would they explain to you guys, other than, obviously you get your directions on what your character is going to do, but did they explain, okay, now, you know, at this point, you know, this character is going to walk in and you're going to react this way?
I did actually have there was a, generally, I say I couldn't see much, I couldn't hear much, but Tomlinson, the assistant director, first director, John Tomlinson.
I think that's right. Yeah.
He was had one of those megaphones, so I could hear. Well, you know, it's like, and action, you know, all that sort of thing. And but he would say, right, I want you over here, right to the left, and you know, that's all I could hear. I mean, I couldn't hear Richard Marquet. He was very gentle and soft spoken, direction wise, there was one featured bit that the act was going to have a little bit of a comical piece.
Really?
It was, but it was one of those edited out ones. It was where I had an argument with Rees. So Yak and it was in subtitles, creature language. But me, it was like a lot of swaying, like, you know, and Salacious was, he was doing his wind up thing. I mean, I can't remember the words because there were no words.
Right.
But we were having an argument, and then this was in the sail barge, and then I had my goblet, and I then go for reuse and try and hoof him, and I miss him and hit C-3PO, and C-3PO goes over. I mean, there's stills from it. You can actually see me trying to hit C-3PO. You can put it together with some of the stills, but that was cut. But that was the only one. It was like a morning's filming. And focus on where I had to do an action a few times, and you know, now and up and but they put it very quickly. Everything was done quickly.
It's always 3PO, isn't it? He's always the one.
Oh, he is.
Getting picked on and pushed around and taken apart.
It's. But I like Salacious. He had a bad attitude.
Fun.
He's good.
He's fun.
He's one of my favourites actually. That's I like Salacious.
Then did you enjoy your panel? You were just doing a panel with.
I did. I've known Kevin for a long time. We've had a few dinners together, and it's nice.
Good show.
He knows everything. He's one of those people.
Oh, he's super fan.
So many people that,
that's amazing.
The best thing.
Yeah, that's another fun thing about Star Wars, though, is I always can tell when somebody is in it, immersed in it. You know, when you're watching the screen, you're watching the actors on the screen, you can tell when somebody's actually believing they're in the universe versus like, I'm just a character on the street here. And that's when I look at the aliens in the background, it's just immediately immersive because of the how weird it all looks. And you can get lost in every single individual in that crowd. And that's, I think, with those first three movies, why that's so special and why that's stuck around so much. Because Star Wars is a one in a million. If you look at all these different franchises that have popped up and gone away since Star Wars, everyone's trying to replicate what Star Wars did.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And I think it's the immersiveness that Star Wars gives you that has kept it alive for so long.
It's a story. It's
Yeah.
a story. It's a classic. It's a story.
Yeah.
But what's kept it alive is the artists, the young artists that have either tattoos or whatever, the innovative new Star Wars. It's morphed.
Yeah.
The whole thing has morphed and carried on.
Absolutely.
And obviously, Walt Disney have picked it up, and but it was to me the old trilogy. It was a story. It was.
Yes.
I was a super Star Wars fan. I mean, I'm lost now. It's every direction and animation and all sorts of things.
It's the level of the story was great, and there's the immersiveness, and there's the visual intrigue, and it just had all the things going for it with those first three movies. And that's what I've seen so many other franchises try to replicate.
So professional.
Yeah.
But it's a story. It was George. It was George.
Absolutely.
I mean, come on. Yeah.
Are you excited for his museum coming
Yes.
up?
Yeah. I mean, the location's not ideal for me.
Yeah, neither for me either.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's across the country for me. Yeah.
But I have a lot of time for Star Wars people. There's a community which I didn't know, and I've been so welcomed in, and it's lovely.
That's awesome. Well, it's been a pleasure talking with you here on the
wish
live
I
stage.
could say the same. No, I'm joking.
I'll just see myself out there. Yeah.
Shut the door and.
But everybody, this has been Sean Crawford here, the man of
One and
Yak
only.
Face, as well as one of the Mon
Yeah.
Calamari from Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, come and visit my Facebook group, and if you've got Yak stories, let us know, because the group, likes the stories.
Is it you said it's the EYOC?
The Elusive Yak Face
Owners
Club.
Club. EYOC.
Well, actually, no, it's the Elusive Yak Face. That's
the Elusive Yak Face is the name.
That's the.
Find that group.
Yeah.
Be a member.
Hunt
Get a
me
Yak
down.
Face.
I might have moved. I'm elusive.
But once again, guys,
Chase me.
check out ICCCon. If you're not here, you should be here. You should be meeting Sean Crawford, as well as all the other awesome guests we have at ICCCon. Amazing Star Wars show. As always, thank you for catching another live episode here from the podcast stage from Blitz Transmissions. And as always, may the Force be with you.